Right, good morning, grade 10 again. We're going to do chapter 4 now, which is your other quiz that you did. So this is all about software. Now remember that we talked about software a little bit. Everything in your computer is represented by noughts and ones, on-off switches. On or off. Electricity on is a 1, electricity off is a naught. So in that respect, noughts and ones is the language that the computer understands, the processor understands noughts and ones. So there's 8 of those noughts and ones in a row to represent one letter of the alphabet. 8 different arrangements of noughts and ones. And each letter of the alphabet, in other words, each key that you press on the keyboard has a different arrangement of noughts and ones. And yes, capital letters also have different arrangements of noughts and ones. So everything is represented by noughts and ones in a group of 8 bits, which make a byte. And that's where your measurement of comes in, where you have bits and then bytes. A bit is either 0 or a 1. And a byte is 8 of those noughts and ones, all arranged differently. And then you have kilobyte or megabyte. It's 1,000,000 bytes. A kilobyte is 1,000 bytes. 1,024 actually is the official number, but you can just think of it as 1,000 for a kilo, and a mega would be 1,000 times by 1,000, which is a megabyte. And then you have gigabytes, which is 1,000,000,000 bytes. So the 1 byte can then have a whole lot of bytes, which are a whole lot of bits, 8 bits in a row. So a byte is 8 bits. So you remember that? And that is how the computer sees software. Noughts and ones. Right, we're just going to look at a system software here. And we're learning about the different operating systems that are that are available to you to use on different devices. So, system software, the big group of software that is the most important software for your computer or your phone or your tablet or whatever. You have to have system software in order to start up your computer, manage it, and insert other parts to your computer, like your portable hard drive or your flash drive or your mouse or your keyboard. So you need device drivers, and that's part of system software. So system software comprises the operating system, utility programs, and device drivers, and it also includes antivirus programs as well. We're going to look at only those 3. We're not looking at antivirus programs here. We don't study those here. Right, so before we go on, the operating system. The operating system provides you with a GUI. It's pronounced GUI, G-U-I, or graphical user interface. And that is basically the visual way in which you can interact with the computer. And this graphical user interface includes all the buttons and the menus and the items and also text. So your operating system will provide you with a couple of things, and it has a whole lot of categories of functions that are used, that the operating system performs. Quite a lot of them, and you must study them, and they're in the quiz as well. Disk management, which will manage your hard drives. Your hardware management, which is your interaction between the hardware and the software. Then the graphical user interface, where I just discussed. Input output, meaning any signals that are received from an input device, the operating system goes and deals with it. And just to recap, operating system is a subset of system software. We're just looking at one part of system software. Right, we go on to process management, and that is all your apps have to be managed. Then file management, basically storing of your files. Memory management, so the operating system manages your memory, your RAM in other words, and it frees up some space from RAM if it needs to be. And your storage management will improve your performance of your data storage. Right, so there's an activity that you had in your quiz, so I'm not going to go through that now. You can look, do it. Right, advantage of storage management, recording the date that a file was changed. What's that advantage? Let's go and look at the answer. So you can see how recent a file or change was made. So if you see the date of the file in your task, in your Microsoft Explorer. Microsoft Explorer is this yellow folder over here. Can you see the yellow folder? And that's where you can see all your folders. This is Windows Explorer. It's the old name for Windows Explorer. That is part of your operating system. Okay, so let's move on to the different types of operating system. We have standalone operating systems. That are just the computers that you normally work with, your Android phone, your Windows. Ubuntu is another operating system. They call them standalone. Then you have network operating systems, which are working on networks, computers that are in a network. When you're at school, you're actually working in a network. You log into a network. There's a server which provides you access to certain drives and some software as well. And the server must have a network operating system to work. So it helps all the other computers on the network as well. It can also provide access to the internet and storage, etc. So all computers are connected to the server, and then that server needs a network operating system. Then we have embedded operating systems, and those are the ones that are in your single device for a specific purpose, very specific. We have Android and Linux are the most popular embedded operating systems, and they're open source. Okay, designed for a single device for a very specific purpose. Embedded operating systems, very much for a specific purpose. Okay, let's go back to the actual book here. Your standalone, your network embedded, like for instance a smart TV, video camera, GPS system that's in your mobile devices. Those are embedded operating systems. Network, yeah, so we've just talked about those. Right, so comparing operating systems, the different types. Let's go and have a look at this, a standalone one. Functions on computers to ensure the tasks of the operating system are completed. Network operating systems help computers work in a network, and embedded are for a specific purpose to make life easier, like your smart TV or your GPS. Alright, and you'll be doing that activity. Now, that is operating systems. Now, the other part of system software, remember the big word is system software, and then we have operating systems, utilities, and drivers, all falling underneath the collective noun system software. Utilities and device drivers. Now, drivers are not a driver that drives you around. It's not your mom and dad that drives you to school every day. No, it's a program that you use to connect your hardware to your computer. It's actually software. A driver is software, and utilities are software as well. They fall under the collective term system software. And basically, utilities, they talk about utilities first. You analyze and configure and monitor and maintain your computer. And I showed you the last lesson. I showed you where you can find them. And most operating systems include your basic utilities, and some others are called backup software as a utility. A device manager is a utility. Device manager is basically software that helps you install new hardware. You can find your device manager on your computer. You can just go and type in here and say device manager. Device manager. So this is a utility program, and it'll look a bit like this picture here. So I don't actually need to open it, and it'll take too long. So there it is. I have opened it. Right. Anyway, we don't really want to see that now, do we? No. Right. So then we have disk cleaners. Allows you to free up space. And then you have defragmentation software, file managers, system task managers, monitors and summarize the computer performance. You want to go to task manager, you say Control Alt Delete, and you can see all your tasks, but now I don't advise you to do that. So only someone who knows a lot must go into task manager. Don't play around there. Right, now device driver programs. That was utilities, okay? We talked about that. Device driver programs. Basically, it's a set of instructions, in other words, software, that tells the operating system how to communicate with your mouse or your keyboard or your printer. So it allows that communication between the operating system and the mouse and the keyboard. Remember, the operating systems are either Windows or Mac OS or Android or whatever. Now, installing, there's two different ways. You can automatically install. Now you must know that every time you plug in your mouse or even your wireless mouse nowadays, everything is automatic. You basically, what happens when it's automatic installation of your hardware, the drivers are installed automatically. So what happens is the operating system finds the driver which it already has in its little library of code, and then that driver gets installed automatically by the operating system and manages that, and then your new device can be installed without having to restart your computer, like when you put in your mouse or your wireless mouse or your keyboard onto your computer. It's automatic. Then you have manual installation. Then you need to basically go to the device manager and set it all up, or you have to go and get the DVD or download. Sometimes you have software for your printer that comes with a DVD, and you have to put the DVD in and install it from the DVD, your printers, especially your 3-in-1 printers, and then you have to go and it's a big process. Or if you don't have the DVD, most printers will have all the files, installation files, the drivers in other words, on their websites, and then you can download that and install. So that's a manual installation. Right, so yeah, what is the word what role does it? Okay, we did all of that, so let's move on. Right, these are your activities that you must do. It's all in the quizzes, so you make sure you go and do your quizzes, otherwise you won't know what's happening, and you do need to study your textbook and do the quizzes, and that's very important. Okay, so we'll see you next week.